and everything is ticking and clicking and spinning and everything. And I believe that means that we are live over on YouTube. And good morning, everybody. I'm David-Dorian Ross, and although you can't see them, I'm joined over here by my friends in the Zoom room. You know, I used to be able to do this. I used to like show up, pop up a screenshot of all the people in the Zoom room. I think I'll try to figure out how to do that again so the people over there on YouTube don't think I'm just crazy in a room all by myself, because you never know. Hey, today we're going to get up and we're going to do a little bit of flow, and hopefully my buddy Aiden is here. Aiden is he's like on top of it. I love him. I really do. So we're just going to get up, wander into the dance floor, and let's see if we can't just make this thing happen. I'll meet you there in a second. Good morning, everybody. So here we are once again. I want to welcome everybody. If you're new here, like if you're joining us for the first time or the second time and you're still not quite sure how this all works, here's the dealio. You don't have to learn anything in this session. All I want you to do is just follow me. Just kind of like get into the flow here. I got to move this chair a little bit so that it doesn't get in the way of you seeing what to follow. And if I go this way and you go that way, there's nobody watching. We don't care. It's all lovely. Here's what I'm going to do today. I've decided that today, as we go through the movements, they're all going to be of a certain theme, like throwing something out the window, variations of throwing things out the window, pushing them out the window, banging on the top of the head and throwing them out, whatever. We'll figure it out. And then all you've got to do is just keep on following that. In the meantime, watch me for the pantomime. And here we go. Sinking the chi. Opening the door. Catching the moon. right out the door. One more push. axe out the window. 10 chops wood. Chopping the wood. Run out of room. One time parting horse's mane. One time chopping wood. And then we do the two together. Back to a big hug. And sink the chi. tossing the rabbit out the window. And then toss it behind you. Tossing the moon. How about all three? Toss the moon. Toss it behind you. Chop some wood. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Whew. I can feel you. Some of you, I can see you. It's just so wonderful. Thank you for sharing that little bit of space and movement with me. So, for those of you who've been around for a while, you know that this is what we refer to as a flow. It's a flow, not to be confused with the flow. The flow is the feeling that you get when you do a flow. Sometimes the flow that you feel is like, oh, it's so deep, it's so intense, it's so like my mind just went away. And sometimes it's just I'm not quite there yet. I'm still working on it, but you notice that you go through some different stages. Sometimes it's like that for me too. You know, I don't always just immediately drop into deep meditation. Sometimes, like today, right up at the very, I was having fun the whole time, but right up at the very end there, suddenly I'm awash with this feeling of happiness and joy. And that's what we call near flow. I'm just about there. I'm right on the threshold. And that's a wonderful place to be. Be like if that would be the place that you want to be all day long. Just be in that state. Here's a bit of a long thought for today. So Baruch Spinoza, who is a philosopher that you should never try to study because he is impossible to understand. But he said something very interesting. He's a Middle Ages or 16th century philosopher in Spain, and he wrote about pleasure. And he said pleasure is the state of a human rising from one state of perfection to a higher state of perfection. That's what pleasure is. Pleasure is when a human being notices that they've gone from one state of perfection to a higher state of perfection. They experience that as pleasure. But then I think to myself, well, there's, it's not just like one kind of pleasure or one kind of state. So what about the body? What do I feel in the body when I'm feeling, my senses come alive and my skin and my hearing and my sight, they all expand. That's with sensuality or sensual arousal. That's the pleasure of the body. Then you've got happiness. Happiness is what your mind goes through. Is like your thoughts are now they've gone from one state of perfection to a higher state of perfection. That's what's going on when you feel happy. And then what about the heart? It's like my emotions, my feelings. When we go from one state of wherever you're at, one state of perfection, to a higher state, all of a sudden you're filled with joy. It's like just, giddy. I'm just joyful and so I'm happy and joyful. My mind and my heart have both risen to a higher state of perfection. And finally, what about the soul, man? What about the soul? When the soul rises from one state of perfection to a higher state of perfection, we experience that as bliss. Bliss. It's like all of anything that could ever possibly have bothered me from the time I was born until right this moment just falls away. And all I can feel is just the connection to the whole universe. And man, that's just awesome. It's blissful. So this is what is in the intention of doing a flow. So I'm so happy when you come and join me in the morning times to do this with me, because it's just very possible that you may experience a little arousal, a little happiness, a little joyfulness, and maybe even a little blissfulness. And like, what could be better? Anyway, that's my thoughts for the day. A new podcast comes out today from Debbie Rosas called Get In, as I guess opposed to Get Out. So Get In, the podcast. And I was the guest on that podcast, and they talked all about, for some reason, she called me the music man, I guess because I think of the body as having its own music. Anyway, we talk about Tai Chi, and we talk about jazz music, and we talk about the Tao Te Ching. So all that's in the podcast. And if you're interested, over on YouTube, in the description for today's show is the link that you can go and watch the podcast. anyway, so that's where that's at. Okay, I've just jabbered on a lot today. Thank you for sticking around and paying attention. Did I mention? I'm talking to my Zoom people over here. Did I tell you I love you today? Did I forget to mention that? I do. A lot. Have an awesome day. I'll see you guys.
Thank you so much.